Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next Friday in our Friday Femme series. We're talking about the Q&A for your PCOS questions. So today we're going to answer two questions. Question number one is what's the best way to handle brain fog from menopause? And statement question number two is I was thinking about water fasting for a few days. So we're going to touch on both of these questions, but I love that they were both submitted and they have some overlapping answers. So I want to make sure we cover both today. For those of you that are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Yasmin Minfield. I am a health coach. I am a modern day medicine woman, a full spectrum doula, and I'm here because you're already powerful, but I want to give you the tools to holistically reverse PCOS, to work through infertility, to work through postnatal depletion. And so those are the main ways that I show up to support women. And this is a beautiful community that we have built. We are 1,700 women strong here. So welcome to the new people. And if you're watching me outside of the Facebook group, welcome to you as well. So let's jump into it and really get into this and focus on addressing brain fog. Yes, brain fog that happens with menopause, but I want to address brain fog in general because it does have the same root causes. And so if you're trying to relieve it, whether you are menopausal or not, you're going to follow the same roadmap too. And we're going to talk about my thoughts on water fasting for a few days for a woman who has PCOS. And that's very specific. You know, fasting is so popular. So we're going to definitely talk about my thoughts on the matter and jump into this deeper. So let's first just define what brain fog is. And as we're jumping into this, let me go ahead. Hey, Felicia. Hey, girl. Hi. Let me tag everybody. Let's see if it's going to let me. I'm going to make sure I tag everyone. And as we're talking, if you have questions you'd like me to answer, I'm going to go ahead and share the link to my submission form so you can submit whatever you want me to touch on from week to week. And I'll be more than happy. And you'll also see me posting the link to make sure that you're a part of my email list because I also do go in depth about my weekly questions in a written format within my email that I send week to week. So I'm trying to tag everybody. Hold on. My email that I send. Let's see. Here we go. Now I can tag everybody. I hope I'm going live in the right place. Are you seeing me inside of the Facebook group or is it on my main page? Hey Bree, how you doing, beautiful? Happy Friday. Hey. Am I alive in my Facebook group or on my main page? Can y'all tell me? I'm trying to figure it out because it's not allowing me to tag everybody except followers, so I must be on my main page. But we're gonna roll with it. Okay, cool. I was just making sure it's on my main page. Okay, well, hey, we're gonna roll with it and keep rolling today. So let's jump into it. What is brain fog? Are you guys experiencing brain fog? Comment below, but let's define it first. And so symptoms of brain fog would include like difficulty focusing, a sense of forgetfulness or confusion, not being able to concentrate. And I really want you to pay attention because sometimes these things get diagnosed as depression, as ADHD, or a different issue, when oftentimes, and not for everybody, but oftentimes it does have a lot to do with your PCOS diagnosis. So if you're having difficulty concentrating and focusing, and sometimes you walk into a room and you forget why you're there, or you're waking up and you're not having that sense of mental clarity every day, well, this is something you need to tune into today. So, what is behind all of this? Why do we get these symptoms with the PCOS brain fog? So, anytime you have highs and dips in your sugar levels, this is going to affect both your mood and your brain functioning. And so when you're dealing with PCOS, you may also be dealing with a vitamin D deficiency, which can also exacerbate brain fog, and let alone if you're dealing with insomnia or a poor quality of sleep when you are sleeping. All of these things are contributing to this inability to focus and that lack of concentration that we like to call brain fog. And so if you're dealing with that, definitely leave me a little, hey girl, that's me, in the chat. And let me know what you're personally experiencing. And so now that we define what brain fog is and its common symptoms, let's talk about how PCOS and menopause can contribute to brain fog. So we talked about just PCOS and how especially insulin resistance PCOS, if you're having ups and downs in your insulin, which is your response and your blood sugar response to the foods that you're eating, how that could contribute to brain fog. But if you are a woman who has entered into menopause or you are perimenopausal, then you have most likely developed an even greater resistance, and you have a greater sensitivity to carbohydrates. And so you might be at greater risk of experiencing those ups and downs in insulin. However, if you are having PCOS or menopausal, whichever you are at greater risk also for having greater levels of cortisol. When you have greater levels of stress hormones in your bloodstream, this can also make you more resistant when eating carbohydrates. So you end up with a greater level of insulin resistance when you're eating carbohydrates versus when you are not under these levels of higher stress hormones. So in a nutshell, it's important that we address those underlying hormonal imbalances in the blood sugar regulation to get rid of the brain fog and ease it up for you. And even if you are menopausal, or I say perimenopausal, we still need to make sure we're getting lab work done to understand where your hormones are, your stress hormones, and how your insulin is responding in your body. So when you go to your medical provider or you go and you independently get your lab work done, you definitely need to test your blood sugar, see what your A1C is. Your A1C is a measurement of how your blood sugar is doing over the span of 3 months. This is a snapshot into how things are going. And so you want to have that lab work done so you know what's going on, so you can get to the root cause of it, and that will relieve that brain fog. And so let's jump into the second question that was asked. What about water fasting? We have somebody in our community that's curious about doing a multi-day water fast as a woman with PCOS. If you are currently intermittent fasting, if you do extended fasting, if fasting has been a part of your health regimen, definitely comment below the video and share what your regimen is, because I think it's important for us to really talk about it. It's become such a regular part of many people's practices. So I think it's a great question. Let's get into it. So for me, I don't have anything against fasting. I think it has its place. But for women with PCOS, I think it's the wrong place to place our energy, even if it's just for a few days. Simply because your body is already operating in a state of depletion and has already compromised your resources for being able to balance hormones and heal. And so your body right now more so needs consistent nutrition versus a water fast, especially an extended water fast. I would suggest focusing on mastering your nutrition before you start entering into a thought about fasting. Because right now, what your body needs most is consistent nutrition, where we are really prioritizing your blood sugar stability and cortisol regulation. And so, to do that, we need to get very, very consistent in our meal timing and what those meals consist of. And so, we want to emphasize and prioritize those nutrient dense foods and healthy habits over fasting. That does not mean that you can never fast, but in my thoughts and how I've helped other women and in my own journey, the best you're going to feel is when you can really master your daily habits. Now, when you get to a place where your blood work is showing that your cortisol is in a good place, inflammation is down, hormones are looking great, like you're in a more balanced state, then maybe you could consider tapping into the benefits of water fasting. So it's not that there's never a place for it in our health practices, but let's just be mindful and use it mindfully as the tool that it is, where it is indicated in some instances, but for most women that I've met that are dealing with PCOS, they're not quite ready for that. So comment below, will you be water fasting or not? I'm really curious. So let's talk about healthy habits for getting that brain fog relief. Um, First of all, how you start your day. You've heard me talk about this a lot if you're not new here, but I can never overemphasize that the first meal of the day is absolutely important for establishing a sense of stability in the body, for regulating our insulin response, for having stable blood sugar basically, and being able to get that quicker symptom relief from the things that are bothering you the most with PCOS. And so when you start the day, in order to regulate cortisol, your blood sugar, to help your hormonal balance, you want to start the day with a breakfast that is high in protein and healthy fats, that is low in processed carbs, that has a lot of non-starchy carbohydrates. So berries, spinach, non-starchy vegetables. And when you're eating these berries and these vegetables, you're pairing them with healthy proteins and fats. So, for example, you might have a meal that has a nice omelet, maybe 2 to 3 eggs in that omelet. You're going to saute some spinach, add some, you could do some goat cheese in there. You could do, some turkey bacon on the side if you like, or regular bacon, whatever you like. And then on the side of that, you might have a bowl full of Greek yogurt mixed in with some chia seeds and some berries. So, yes, you see how, like, there is that fruit included, but we're also including it with a healthy portion of protein and fats. So, how do you start your day? Comment below with like a typical breakfast that you eat. And if you're currently eating something that is more rich in carbohydrates, such as like an oatmeal, for instance, how do you see yourself converting that meal based on what we've talked about today? Let's get that breakfast under control, and I will make sure to leave my ebook on mastering breakfast in the comments below. I also do have a more in-depth guide on nutrition, so you can do more than just master breakfast, and I'll leave the link to that too in the comments. And so we want to also work on reducing sugar and refined carbohydrates. That's always going to leave us in a super foggy place mentally, because our body is struggling not only with the sugar content but also with the vegetable oils that are in it. So there are vegetable oils in a lot of processed foods. And sometimes we only think about the sugar content, but we also have to think about vegetable oils. So vegetable oils are really high in polyunsaturated fatty acids. They usually are more so rich in omega-6 fatty acids versus omega-3 fatty acids. And so we want foods that are very rich in omega-3 versus omega-6. And this is going to help us with that brain fog. A quick way you can do it if you've been eating a lot of processed foods, girl, is get you some fish oil. You can get some supplements that are rich in EPA and DHA. These are those healthy fats that are going to fatty acids that help the brain's functioning. And it's almost like you could think of it as a healthy fats cleanse, if you want to use that word. Sometimes I cringe to use that word, but it can definitely help you to decrease brain fog. So if you want me to link one of the fish oil supplements that I use personally, comment below and I'll definitely share that link with you. And so when you're eating sugar and refined carbohydrates and processed foods, it's the sugar, but it's also the vegetable oils. So for me personally, this was a big change because I was eating a lot of Smart Balance butter for a while. I don't know if you got hooked into that brand too, but that brand, oh my God, at least when I ate it, it was chock full of vegetable oils. And I didn't understand the harm it was doing to my body until I decided and I read the research that I was going to stop consuming those oils. And what's really deep is like those oils were created when there was the turn of the century and there was the boom of the cotton industry and it was seeing a decline. And so it took the byproduct of cotton, which is the cotton seed, and then started to press it and use hexane to strip out the oils of the seed. So even grapeseed oil is produced using hexane, which is very toxic and very harmful to our reproductive systems. So as someone who has followed like different types of eating, whether it is a raw vegan type of eating, a strict keto, and now I'm more, I guess you say, omnivore, low carb. If I had to stick a label on it, I just consider myself eating mindfully and medicinally for my body. But one thing I noticed whenever I did choose a very intentional way of eating, whether it was vegan, raw vegan, strict keto, or a different style. One, there's some common things that I did not eat, wherein I saw a huge benefit to my menstrual cycle specifically, but also my energy levels and mental clarity. And that those were two things I had just have not really made a prominent part of my diet since probably like 2008-ish, somewhere in there, is grains and seed oils. Grains and seed oils. Because when I was a raw vegan, I was eating about 80% raw foods at that time. I mainly used olive oil and coconut oil and I ate a lot of avocados, like whole avocados. I ate a lot of seeds, like whole seeds. So I wasn't getting a lot of vegetable seed oils into my diet. And then when I switched to keto, I was using grass fed butter, beef tallow, things like that, ghee. And again, these are not vegetable seed oils. And so I was racking my brain as to how I could have such beautiful health benefits in such drastically different styles of eating. And these were the two overlapping things that I figured out. I was not eating grains. I was not taking in vegetable seed oils. So, are you currently eating grains and vegetable seed oils? If so, these might be two things you might want to just play around with taking out of your diet, maybe just for a month to see how you feel. And then you could play around with reintroducing those foods and notice, do you have a adverse reaction? Do you have more brain fog? Are you feeling achy? Does your energy drop? Does your cycle start to have more problematic symptoms? And so I want to invite you to just take that exploratory attitude and really explore the foods that you're choosing and how they make you feel and how they're impacting your mental clarity. And the last thing I want to talk about for regulating cortisol, blood sugar, and hormonal balance is really just managing stress and prioritizing your self care. So, when we are going through life, and even if there's something going on that doesn't seem like it should have you in a tizzy or make you feel stressed out, Your perception of what is happening is really what's dictating the level of stress that your body is experiencing. So, what's big about that is the more that you do things that are stress relieving, that bring an element of mindfulness into your life, whether it's deep breathing, meditation, long, slow walks out in nature, whatever you choose to do that helps you to feel more at ease. Those things are really going to help you bring down your cortisol levels, but also increase your resilience to stress because it's almost like your body is this water bottle. And all the things that you're perceiving as stressful are the water in that water bottle. And every time you go do something that is stress relieving for you, it could be going to see live music, it could be taking the day off and having a self care day, you pour a little bit of that water out of the water bottle. So then when something bigger happens, maybe you have to move suddenly, a new baby's on the way, or something happens in your family, that's like a squeeze on that water bottle. And so the work that you do day to day to pour the water out of the water bottle in the form of stress relief, that's going to make you stronger to withstand the stronger stressors of your life, and you develop more emotional resilience and resilience to stress. So, in everything we discussed today, what is most important out of all of that is staying consistent and being patient and developing this as habits that become second nature to you. So, yes, it's important to get enough protein and fat. It's important to balance your blood sugar, to do things that relieve your stress, to decrease your sugar intake and your intake of processed foods. But you also need to do this one step at a time. So, if you haven't mastered any of the things that I'm talking about today, I want you to choose just one healthy habit to focus on, and focus on it week to week until you master it, and then you add on another micro habit, and eventually over a year, over 2 years, you will completely revamp your entire lifestyle, but you'll do it in a way where you're not falling into this trap of being on and off track or feeling like a failure because you've taken way too much on at once. So I want to encourage you, as I do with my clients, to take this one step at a time. Give yourself grace and compassion. You are a complex, beautiful, whole being, and you are not taking care of your health in a vacuum. So change your behaviors, focusing on one micro habit at a time. Master that habit and then build on it. And that is what you're going to see really takes you to that next place where you see big relief, not just with brain fog, but following these tips is going to help you reduce cortisol. It's going to help you start to heal your insulin resistance. You start adding in some spearmint tea, and now we're seeing a reduction in androgens. It's going to make acne better. Your skin will clear up. Your hair will be nice and thick. You're going to have less hair growth on your chin. Like all of the things that bother us the most about PCOS, those pesky symptoms, will also see relief by following this blueprint of sorts of just mastering one habit at a time. So take your time and give yourself grace. So if you are saying, hey, that sounds great, but I don't know if I can do that by myself, I want you to know that you're not alone, and I am here to help. And not just me, but behind me is an entire community of beautiful women that are working to reverse PCOS holistically, one healthy habit at a time. And that community that I've created is called Sacred Rising. And within Sacred Rising, we now have started to develop what we're calling micro communities. And these are small groups of women that are only 3 to 4 women in size. And we focus on one main goal within that micro community. So if you have the two that we are opening up right now, One is for period healing and healing trauma. So if that's a focus for you and you want an intimate group of women where you can really be safe to heal, then come and join the micro community. The other one is for women who are postpartum. And when I say postpartum, that means that you had a baby and you had postnatal depletion and you still have not recovered from postnatal depletion. Most women don't know that postnatal depletion can go on for 10 years per child if left untreated. So we really want to give you a safe place as well to talk about your journey as a mother, to talk about healing when you have PCOS and you are postpartum and dealing with postnatal depletion. So I'm building that micro community for you too. So if you want that support, I will leave the link to directly enroll into Sacred Rising. If you need to talk more to see if this is a good fit, you can always DM me. You can also use the link that I'll drop in the chat to book a free call for us to really talk about how I can help you. If you're trying to conceive right now and you'd like help in your fertility journey, or if you'd like to do preconception work to just optimize your fertility prior to getting pregnant, I do have some one-to-one slots open where we can work together, just you and me, but you would still have membership within Sacred Rising as well if you want it, because I find that in a combination of coaching with someone who's been there, with community with other sisters that are going through the same type of journey, and having a course that really maps out what to do that you can study almost like you're entering to the holistic PCOS reversal university, where you get to really learn why you're going through what you're going through and how to reverse it. When you combine these components together, it creates a very powerful healing and transformative experience. So again, if that's what you need, you can DM me and you can book a free call for us to talk, but you can also enroll right into Sacred Rising and I'll see you on the other side over there. And that's exciting because having a coach by itself is a powerful thing, but also having a community is even more powerful. And so there will be in those one-to-one sessions individual guidance, just me and you, and we can really dive into your lab work, what you need based on your lab work, so you know that you're taking the right supplements based on your needs, what your nutrition needs to look like, so it's not just generally speaking. And so that's how we can work together. I just want to reiterate that this is your journey. Be patient with yourself. And you can love yourself so much and so radically right now. You don't have to wait for your symptoms to get better to love yourself. Your symptoms are your body's way of communicating with you. She is telling you what you need to focus on. She's telling you where the deficiencies are for your nutrition. What, not even always what you need to take away, but what you need to add in to what you're eating and how you are nourishing yourself, but not just in the food that you're eating, but the way you need to nourish yourself in your thoughts, the things that bring you joy, the community that you surround yourself with, the people that pour into you. And so your body is always speaking. So when we have symptoms, I want you to detach from those symptoms being a message that somehow you are wrong or you're bad or you're not enough, but to switch into thinking about them as this ongoing conversation between you, the larger being that you are, and the body that holds you into this earth. This is an ongoing conversation. And so when we can switch this mindset, it leads us to a more gentle approach to our body, mind, heart, and spirit. And it helps us to stay the course. Because PCOS reversal can take some time. And you have to have emotional resilience to stay the course, to keep going, to figure out what works for you. So I wanted to remind you that you are enough and you can heal. And you can do it naturally. You can do it holistically. And there's a community here to support you in that. So again, please reach out if you need that one-to-one help. If you want that group and community support, I'm here to support you. Thank you for tuning in. You will find the form to submit your questions below, and I'll see you guys next week, same time, same place, to answer your questions. Have a great weekend.